Well, it's been a while since the last time you guys heard from me now, hasn't it? Some of you might be wondering why you're only hearing my voice right now and why I'm not actually on camera. The reason behind this is actually very simple. I don't feel like those of you who were former fans and followers of both my channels here on YouTube before the whole channel lockdown situation happened deserve to experience the full version of me. If you want to help get my gaming videos and streams back online, you're still welcome to shoot $10 my way, but if you're not going to do that, don't expect any more of that content from me because without proper financial support, it's just not going to happen. The thing is that making videos of that nature comes at a cost to me. To keep this shit going is not free. And the thing is that it just doesn't make sense for me to continue investing money into an endeavor that I'm not getting any money out of. This is exactly why, as of lately, my endeavor has been pursuing the path of professional musician and performing covers of classic rock and hit pop songs at various bars and coffee houses in my area and in the city closest to me because I actually make money at it. Not as much as I'd like, but more fucking money than I ever made from my YouTube videos, I tell you that. When I play my acoustic guitar at my gigs and sing songs that people know, not only do I get paid from all the managers who help run the joint, but a couple of the customers will usually come along and throw at least a couple bucks in my tip jar, and I'll tell them, thanks so much, God bless you. And that's how I think more fans need to be with their favorite content creators on YouTube, because it helps that content creator grow their content, and it encourages the content creator to keep giving you that content you love. Unfortunately, I have discovered that most people on the internet are not that generous. With people on the internet, the general mentality of people is if they think they can get away with something unsavory, they're all the more inclined to do it. And also, unfortunately, the act of never sending their favorite content creators any money often falls into this category. I mean, did I enjoy doing streams and videos about movies, video games, and sometimes music? Sure, it was fun while it lasted, but when all is said and done, if I can't do something fun and make at least a little bit of money for it, then to me, it's kind of a waste. Now, don't fucking misinterpret, because that's not to say I would ever charge someone money for something like being my friend. That's a whole different kind of fun as opposed to undertaking some kind of creative endeavor. Anyhow, I'm a firm believer in the adage of if you're good at something, never do it for free. In the end, I would love to have your support, but, and this might sound insensitive or unnecessarily harsh to some of you, but in any case, if you don't have $1 to show for your supposed support, then your support is not going to be of any value to me. If you see that as e-begging, that's your own wrongful perspective at play, not mine. And just to put a cap on this topic, that brings me to another old adage. Money talks, bullshit walks. I just wanted to clear that up as briefly as I could before diving into the focal point of this video, which is some of you guys have been targeting me with harassment, despite the fact that some of you have contacted me several different ways, several different times, only to receive my silence as a response, which is obviously my way of saying I don't feel like dealing with you because I know you're a fucking idiot without actually saying that. But despite that, some of you have persisted in your efforts to contact me, whether by sending me messages on Facebook or emailing me or leaving comments on my ranting channel when I've blocked you on my streaming channel and God knows what else. Those of you who fall into this category, I only have one thing to say to you. Get a fucking life. You pathetic, overgrown losers. Go outside, anywhere where there's people to be found, and be social for God's sake. In fact, you know what I'm doing tomorrow night? I'm going to see if my uncle will accompany me to one of my favorite bars in my area and enjoy a couple pints of Guinness beer on draft with me. And if you've never had Guinness beer on draft before, let me tell you something. You haven't fucking lived. I won't say the exact names of these individuals, but what I will say is that one of them got in trouble with me many months ago for being very rude towards me in the comments section of one of my videos on my ranting channel. Now, I could have given him a chance to redeem himself, but the way his comments were worded, it was just so blatantly disrespectful what he was saying that I was like, what's the point? So I laid down the law. I blocked and banned him from my channels and said, don't ever come back on my videos again. And I guess he didn't like that very much, because in every single stream I did following that video, he always showed up in the chat room on one of his umpteen billion sock puppet accounts and started trying to talk to me. And when I stopped making YouTube videos, don't think it ended there. He kept emailing me, and when I marked his emails as spam, he'd just blow up my email spam folder. When I blocked his Facebook account, he tried every other alternative means of contacting me on there, which I was forced to cut off. And unfortunately, since the guy happens to know my full name in real life, he even went as far as to look up my LinkedIn account and send me a request on there for me to add him to my personal network. I do not understand what this dude is trying to accomplish, but one thing is for certain, this guy is fucking mentally ill. You cannot continue to go to lengths like this to talk to someone after being told by that person repeatedly to fuck off and still be considered normal. I know this dude is going to watch this video, so I'll say this to him right now. Bro, if you think that everything you've done falls into the category of completely normal human behavior, you are certainly not normal and you need professional help. I say that not as an insult, but as a fact. If you are that desperate that you literally have nothing else in your life to gravitate towards, go recruit a psychologist, psychiatrist, counselor, or for Christ's sake, some kind of therapist to give you the assistance you need with your mental health. Otherwise, I cannot see any kind of bright future in sight for you, and your life is just going to get worse. And contacting me 1,000,001 more times, 1,000,001 more different ways isn't going to change anything. The other guy who I've gotten a lot of shit from is the guy who has recently uploaded videos about me in an endeavor to demonize me, claiming that my original video I made about Emmer Prevost's death was me attempting to use his death to beg for money for myself. If you genuinely believe this individual's claim about me is valid, then you're no more brighter than the individual himself. And unfortunately, again, I don't say this as an insult, I say it as a fact. He isn't very bright. Obviously, the fact that I talked about my financial issues with my channels in that same video didn't sit well with a lot of people, which, in hindsight, I admit probably wasn't one of my better decisions, which is why I have long since set that video to unlisted. In any case, I am aware of this individual's videos about me. I just haven't watched them, and I am not going to because I simply refuse to hear any more of the guy's bullshit. And not only is this person a bullshitter, but he's such a hypocrite. Shortly after his first video about me hit YouTube, he sent me this long tirade email which he accompanied with a PayPal donation of 2 pennies, bitching about how me and my friends allegedly teamed up to massively downrate his video about me after his video about me received somewhere around 20 to 25 dislikes. First of all, even if that was true, which it isn't, this guy and his friends did the exact same thing to my original video about Emmer's death. Even though I set that video to unlisted, this individual has the link to that video of mine in the description of his first video attacking me. Go click on the link to my video and see how many fucking dislikes are on that video. Those dislikes came from that individual and his friends. And then, when he thinks he's been given the exact same treatment, he has the audacity to come slinging mud at me for it? The irony of that is stunning. Secondly, I will admit to this much. A small fraction of the dislikes on his video attacking me came from me and my friends. I remember it being somewhere around 5 or 6 though. The rest of those dislikes, I have no idea where the hell those came from, and that is the honest to God truth. If I was to wager a guess, I'd say it was probably the work of that other moron I was discussing earlier in this video, but again, that's just a guess. Anyway, people, I have nothing but love and respect for Emmer and what he did on YouTube. I mean, the Great Expectations 320 Homecoming movie that I made later on last year was designed from the ground up as a tribute to his game reviewing days and was dedicated to his memory. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into making that fucking movie, and I did it because there was a deafening voice in my heart screaming that it was what Emmer would have wanted, to have homage paid to his other video making endeavors in his absence, not just his reaction and review series, which I saw everybody and their brother do their own tributes and homages to after he died. But anyway, yeah, I brought the Great Expectations 320 character back from the dead for one last hurrah. There is no logic in thinking that I would have made a 90 fucking minute movie and upload it to the internet in the memory and reverence of someone who died if I had no respect for that deceased person. If you still think after all that I was just out to use his death to elicit a sympathetic response of people who watched to send me money, I don't know what else to say to you. You are a lost cause if that's what you think. But God, how I still miss Emmer. And he wasn't even a good friend of mine. He was just somebody who I watched for a while and who I looked up to and took a great deal of inspiration from in my own videos. He certainly wasn't the nicest guy. In fact, there were undeniably times where he was a real jerk to certain people, but absolutely no one deserves to die for that. I mean, we've all mistreated someone at some time or another. In fact, I readily admit that when I was a teenager, there were plenty of times where I was quite the little pissant. Nobody's perfect, and I sure as hell don't claim to be. I've made mistakes, but the thing about making mistakes is that you can either wallow in them and sulk, or learn from them and move forward. And I've tried to do the latter of those scenarios to the best of my ability. Anyway, the point of all this, I suppose, is that if there really was a way to raise people from the dead after they've been deceased for a certain length of time, one of the first things I would do is try to resurrect Emmer. That is just how hurt I am by this loss. But realistically, there's no reversing human death unless maybe God decides to intervene, which unfortunately doesn't happen a whole lot these days. And until there is, we all just have to keep our fond memories of those who touched us most and who are no longer with us close to our hearts, so we can move forward in this life until the day we can be united with them forever in the next. That's all I have to say on that. But yeah, in a nutshell, these two aforementioned individuals, you guys need to back off once and for all. Stop trying to get me to communicate with you because I've severed the ties with you both once and for all, which means another communication between us is never, ever, ever going to happen. At all. Stop stalking me, stop contacting me, and move on with your fucking lives, because God knows that's what I'm trying to do with mine. Capiche? In any case, if you watch this video all the way to the end, I thank you for your time, take it easy, and God bless.